Scored 999 roses. Let's give him a big round of applause once again for the performance.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Friend or Foe Season 5's Heroic League. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Up first, we've got Art of War Esports versus Trickle Down Economics. Here with me, joining me on today's cast will be Lolo. I am Chris Sunga. How are you doing, Lolo? It's been a while since I've casted with you. Have I ever casted with you?
No, I am feeling honored and blessed to be casting with the Godfather, our Lord and Savior, the King of FOF himself, Mr. Chris Songo, this evening. For me, I am very, very excited.
Thank you very much. You're so nice, dude. I don't care that I swear it's my own show. You're so cute. You're so handsome. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much for welcoming me on today's broadcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in for today's show. Art of War have two wins under their belts, needing every win possible to stay alive in the competition. TDE, on the other hand, are aiming for every win possible in hopes that they can take a top 2 spot before the end of next week, which might be determined based off of the UB baby game that happens later today, which will be very exciting. So let's get into the draft right away. What are you seeing here first, Lolo?
Well, to begin with, it does look like we're seeing some targets towards the top lane specifically. We've seen what Zen is capable of with this role swap, and it's been a lot of Sion. We've seen some Kled, both of those being taken off the table, as well as Mezusa, who is undefeated so far, 4-0 on the Victor, so no surprises there. Art of War wanted to take that off the table. On the other side, it does look like some comfort picks are being taken away from Crims, and it is going to be a first pick, Gragas, being locked in. That looks like it's most likely going to be going Slowbro's way. He's played one game so far in the league, hasn't taken a win on it thus far, but it's an interesting blind pick, honestly. There are a few things I think that TDE can pick in order to, play around this, but obviously it's flexible into the bot lane. I mean, I don't know how comfortable Oriri is on it so far, but we'll see what it's responded with.
Ash taken up by TDE. Love the Kled Scion bans from the side of Art of War, by the way. Zen picking those two champions the most, probably, I think, in this league so far. Ash being picked up by TDE. Since Jinx is not on the table, Ultravox will not be playing Jinx. I believe Ultravox, if you guys read the FFC, the Friend of Foe Connect, by the way, ffesports.com/press, there is a Jeff Stats section where I believe I saw that Jinx has been picked as the most out of all the champions in our show this season, and I think that Ultravox specifically contributes to a lot of those numbers. So since there's no Jinx for him, looks like it's going to be Ash and Kayn picked up for Leaves.
Absolutely. Ultravox did mention prior to this league, I was having a little chat with the teams. He did say he heckin' loves a Powder. He's a big Powder stan. No surprises there, but yes, with it being taken off the table, Ash is definitely an ADC that we don't see as much of recently. I mean, she is still good, but she's just doesn't quite match the power level of some of the hyper carries that we're more used to seeing, like Jinx, Zarya, Philios, so on. We have seen a lot of Xayah actually creeping into the meta recently, so I'm not too surprised to be seeing that picked up as a response. I'll be interested to see if Art of War do decide to lock in their support here, or whether they decide to match jungle. The Kayn, of course, just to note, is a very, very nice bit of comfort for Leaves, who is primarily a Kayn main and has played it quite a bit in FOF already so far. So that's nice for TDE to be able to pick that up as a power pick for them. And it is going to be the Nautilus locked in. This is quite a strong bot duo. And there are obviously quite a few things that Bobby Joseph can pick in response to this. We've got things like, he's more of a hook champion player. He does play quite a bit of Blitzcrank, but obviously he's shown already he's got a very diverse champion pool, and he has lots of things that he could potentially pick into this.
Yep. Love the Nautilus pick from the side of Oriri. He's been picking it up a lot this season. I think Art of War has been they've been getting a lot of comments saying they're not pulling the trigger enough this season, which might be contributing to their lack of wins. Because despite them being at the bottom of the standings, they still are a decent team. They're probably one of the best last place teams I've ever seen. So Oriri these days picking up the Nautilus, picking up engaged champions like Leona to try to be that guy. Very exciting to see. We're going to be seeing the Kayle picked up by TDE as well as we go down into the second round of bans.
Yes, Kayle, of course, Mizuza's actually most played champion just in general. They've played it once so far in OFOF, and it has resulted in a sort of late game scaling win, which TD actually had were on the back foot. I think this was against PWH last week. So that is definitely, again, it just provides them with a lot of insurance as it moves into the later stages of the game. And now it does look like TD want to try to thin down what Seaborg could pick as a response to this. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Yasuo or a Yone ban come out, as well as those other champions that they are quite comfortable on.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Yasuo Yone from Seaborg. Seaborg being one of the newer players into the league, joined Art of War, I can't remember, a couple weeks ago, but fairly new. And has even though Art of War has been losing a couple of games, Seaborg has been looking pretty decent. I believe in power rankings, people have been ranking him fairly decently. So I'm excited to see what he picks. I did not know that he plays Zoe, so that Zoe ban is surprising, but probably could find that out by looking at OPGG. But Seaborg, we're going to see if he picks up any kind of big carry threat, because it looks like Art of War might be looking for something like that.
Now, see, what interests me is that we see a Quinn ban coming in from TDE, which means they think they're not 100% certain about this Gragas pick thus far. That is Slowbro's, one of Slowbro's best champions, very, very strong, but he's not been able to get his hands on it, I think, at all, actually, in FOF so far, although it is one of his best champions just in general as a player. So they still think that maybe this Gragas could be flexed into the mid lane, something like this, because they don't have that much information. We've not seen Seaborg play it, but it's still just a little bit of insurance to say, look, if you do want to pivot this into the mid lane position, play it against a Kayle, then if you want to try to give Slowbro a carry pick, because he is definitely a star player on Art of War, then we want to deny that, just not want to have to deal with the Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. TDE got a new coach recently. I don't know if you heard, Mr. Mega Zero.
Yes.
Mr. Mega Zero, big name in LOL esports. I know the coach graphics doesn't say anyone right now, but it was submitted to me earlier in the week. Mega Zero, coaching and trickle down economics. God, I hope he's not playing. I would need to do some kind of Smurf detection for that.
Absolutely, yes. It is going to be, in fact, This would be very interesting if Seaborg does lock this in. But the Jarvan to begin with, just with Hecarim, actually it wasn't Hecarim, excuse me, being taken off the table. Against the Kayn, this does allow actually quite a lot of playmaking early, but it is going to be a Cassiopeia locked in, which does indicate that the cast top, of course, is viable, but it's most likely going to be Seaborg taking that into the mid lane. That is definitely a champion they are also very comfortable on. It's also one that Mezusa, of course, does play quite a fair bit, so they may be fairly familiar with this matchup. We'll have to see. It's not one we've seen so far in FOF, but obviously both very strong scaling mid laners. And on the other side, it is going to be Zen locking in a Mundo into the Gragas. So definitely going to be a little bit of a, a sustained battle up there in that top side. And I think the real, well, I won't go too much further. Chris, what do you think about these drafts?
Look, man, my script here on my table says that Art of War wins this somehow, and they also go undefeated the rest of the week to create the timeline possible to make a four-way
tank script, yes.
Yeah. So my script says Art of War wins, even though I have a strong feeling Trickle-Down Economics might be the better team. So we'll see what happens. What do you think, sir?
Well, so far from what we have from these drafts, we have a particularly good scaling on the side of TDE, because we have a Kayn scales fairly well. We have the Kale, of course, which scales magnificently well, and we have the Karma, which we hadn't mentioned so far, on Bobby Joseph, who has played it. Actually hasn't played it, excuse me, so far in FOFs. This is a new one from him, but we've seen he's basically capable on almost any support. He's a very talented player, and this does enable the Kayn for early ganks into that bot side. It does enable the Kale later on in the game. It does allow TDE, who can play, quite a serious front to back with the front line from that Mundo, if Leaves does decide to go to a red Kayn as well. So anyway, I'm going to say TDE, but let's just see what happens here.
Yeah. With that, we're getting right into the game. We'll be getting these timers up, and the objective timers up shortly. They'll be up when the... Oh, they're actually currently bugged right now. Sorry, I'm hearing from producers. They're currently bugged. Sorry about that. So, getting right into the game, Art of War versus Trickle-Down Economics, early vision and taken by Art of War. Reminder, if Art of War wins this, they will set up their fate for tomorrow's game, where they'll be playing New Wave Tsunami, where there's a chance that whoever the winner is of that match will be taking that final spot of playoffs. So, if they lose, there's still a chance for them to tie later on, but, it's just kind of dependent on what happens everywhere else. For TDE, a win here means they can theoretically take second seed, depending on what happens in the next game between Yubi and Baby. So really exciting standings right now, Lolo.
And where can we find all of these stats, Mr. Songo?
Oh, Friend or Foe Connect, FOFesports.com/press. We made a magazine, guys. We made a magazine this season. Do you guys think we'd do this? Neither did I until like 4 months ago. So check it out. We put a lot of work into it. I learned Adobe InDesign 2 days before it was due, and we made it. So this last week's issue was the largest one yet, 70-something pages, 72, I think. And it's just fun. It's great. It's a great time. Check it out.
Yeah, you really should. We get so many stats from that. Of course, we get some Joshi shout-outs to him with the scouting as well, or the analysis of the players. We get Mr. Jeff Got Gamer stats, the power rankings as well. It is a great time, and also it does just give you an indication of what's going to be going on to the week, like this very important matchup, as you said, and also the match of the week that's coming up next. So as we say that, let's get into these lanes, and it does look like, of course, to begin with, just going to be a little bit of trading up there on the top side, nothing too scary, but no surprises with that Karma pick, of course, that quite strong pick. It does allow for a little bit of an early push in this bot side for TDE, and that means that Leaves does have some freedom, should he wish to move down into that bot side once he's done his full clear.
Leaves showing to be one of the strongest junglers in our tournament so far. Quick spectator bug, we're just fixing it real fast for you guys, don't worry about that. But laning is happening right now. We can see the items. Oh my goodness, yay. Thank you very much, producer. We appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, meanwhile in the top lane, Zen and Slowbro just going ham at each other. Slowbro being a Season 1 champion, by the way, for those who are newer here. Season 1 champion and Season 2 grand finalist. Returns to Friend or Foe after like a 2-season break, coming back with Art of War. Has shown to be such a good top laner, even though Art of War has been down in the standings. But man, it's just exciting to watch.
Well, so Slowbro, he's definitely shown that he can build himself pretty big leads in the top side. He's a good laner. He's received an awful lot of praise from other top laners and just players alike, analysts in FOF. However, he has struggled, even with, we saw him, do the moves on one of the best top laners in the league, Champion Red, last week. But even with the lead he was able to build on an action, it just wasn't, he still wasn't able to make it work quite with this team. So yeah, there has been a bit of a struggle for Art of War, even when they build leads, and they're quite good at building leads in order to convert it into anything meaningful. But nevertheless, that top lane matchup, as you say, Mr. Songo, is something that I do want to keep an eye on, because yes, it is, a bit of a sustain war early on, but both of these top laners do have a lot to prove. Slowbro, as you say, a returning champion, a very strong, win condition on this team, and Zen, the founder of TDE and a recent role swap, who has had a mixed bag of results so far. So let's just keep an eye on that, as it does look like we are going to be seeing Crims moving into that jungle, try to get some vision down.
It's just checking to see where the enemy jungler could be, checking to see leaves his camps. But yeah, Zen moving over to the top lane from the mid lane role after winning a championship last season. He's just trying to prove to everyone that you can play 2 different roles and win a championship, So shout out to Zen for that. Crims. On the other hand, sorry, I don't know which way to pronounce it.
We'll go with Crims.
Yeah, we'll go with Crims. Scrims. That's what I've heard. Scrims. Thank you very much.
Now, I mean, yes, and of course, Zen on 2 different teams as well, if he'd be able to pull it off. But in the meantime, it does look like we're going to see some action in the mid lane.
Yeah, Mezuzah getting 2 flashes out, but no CC lands on the side of Art of War. Wow, Mezuzah doesn't even burn flash right there. Insanely lucky, or just super skilled.
Yep, no flashes burn, but the wave is in a pretty awkward spot for him. He's not able to walk up at the moment. He's going to anyway, though. He's going to try to...
Yeah. I mean, Mezuzah just trying to be the Chad that he is, even though he just got ganked and knows that there are members near him, he's just going to threaten Seaborg anyway. Knowing his limits like an absolute Chad, Oriri and Crims on the side right now might try a repeat, even though they don't have flashes. They might just be desperate here, trying to force something to make sure that they got something.
Well, it does mean that Mezuzah's going to pull an awful lot of pressure into the mid lane. Has retained all of their summoners as well, as you mentioned, which is, pretty childish behavior from them. They are going to take... It's 20 CS down almost, though, after all of that play. And yes, the wave has been pushed back towards them, so a little bit of respite. But still, that's going to build an early lead for Seaborg, who's managed to get a base in and almost build a lost chapter.
Yeah. I will say, as tragic as that moment was, you gotta respect the effort there. Seaborg making sure that his wave was in a prime position for that play to even come across to begin with. And Oriri and Crims, could they have positioned themselves better? Could they have walked better? Maybe. Could they have waited on their flashes? Sure. But the attempts are there, and a hook lands onto Bob Joseph. Not a lot of damage onto them just yet. We're just gonna chill just for the laning phase.
I mentioned already, I'm interested to see how Bob Joseph does perform on this Karma, because this is a new pick for him, as far as I can see from FOF so far. And obviously, he's had fantastic performances, particularly on those hook champions like the Blitzcrank and the Thresh. But this is a little bit of a different breed, and of course, it's a Riri with the hook champion, the Nautilus, who it's his comfort as well. So he's got a lot to prove if he's able actually to win out in this 2v2 in the bot lane.
Yep. Nice hook from Oriri onto Bob Joseph. The ignite goes down, but Bob Joseph gets a nice tether onto Oriri. Oriri's taking a lot of damage. Oriri goes down for first blood. Ultravox flashes forwards, gets the slow onto Yan, but that's the most he's gonna get.
Yeah, and just a little bit of a tricky one there. The ignite was burned early, and a little bit of an overextension. The amount of damage the Karma does early is Bob Joseph's still walking up.
Just trying to threaten Yan, making sure he doesn't get a nice back off or any kind of advantage that he can scrape off. Interesting thing about Bob Joseph that you're mentioning, I think you are right. This is the first time he's picked up Karma, and I believe, I feel like someone's gonna have to double check me on this, but I think Bob Joseph has played a new champion every day.
He has, yes.
Yes, every single day he's picked a new support. I don't know if he's flexing, or if, is it just a coincidence, but man, you gotta give respect.
You do, and of course the win rate is pretty substantial on all of them.
Oh yeah.
Well, obviously it's one in a row, but it's more ones than O's. It's more ones than O's. A lot more ones than O's. But either way, that is going to result in a kill for Ultravox, who did manage to get a base off, get a little bit more AD under his belt. Even though, it's still fairly even on the bot side, and Yorn definitely is going to have the benefit of scaling with this Xayah pick. So it does look like from that as well, TDE are just going to take a little bit of an opportunity after getting that base off to take control of the river, get that scuttle, potentially try to set up for a first Drake.
Yeah, we're going to slowly start to see both sides try to take control of this bottom river. First dragon is up for grabs. We'll see who makes the first move. Leaves is hovering this bottom side right now. So is Art of War's jungler. We'll see if any kind of 3-man plays occur. Jarvan just used the blast cone to get over the dragon pit. Doesn't know that Leaves is there just yet. I don't know if Leaves knows that Crims is there. We're going to slowly start to see, is anything going to happen? They're starting to walk forward. They're starting to see it. Oh, it's so scary.
It is absolutely scary, and I don't think Leaves knows the Crims is there because he was sitting on a pink ward, and there's no vision right now in the bot side jungle of Art of War. So it does look like, yeah, a little bit of a stare down right now, but it's going to escalate very quickly.
Crims says, I'll go first. While Leaves was walking away, Bob Joseph goes down in favor of Art of War. Yon taking a little flashless at this moment. Flashes forward. Leaves trying to get another kill. Nice hook, but it's not going to land. Ultravox and Leaves get another kill. Yon's really low. Oriri's really low. Anything can happen right now. No potential dive threat here, I don't believe. Leaves doesn't have ulti. And that's 1-for-1 trade down in the bot lane.
It is a 1-for-1 trade. And, I mean, credit to Crims there. Takes the initiative, does manage to net a kill for his ADC as, yeah, on top of that also manages to save them by going back in with the flag and drag, the sacrifice as well. So great stuff from him. Knows where his win condition is and is continuing to play for it, but that is going to net a first dragon for the side of TDE.
Yeah, that is true. Leaves able to take up that first dragon. I feel like if Crims waited just a little bit longer, there was a chance that play just goes in their favor and Leaves doesn't catch up in time. Maybe, unsure. Maybe a play happens in the top side as Crims is hovering. Zen, nothing happening just yet.
Yes, and of course, it is definitely in his interest as a little bit of support combat right here.
Yeah, Bob Joseph testing his range right now to get wards, but Seaborg and Oriri try to protect their side of the board.
And again, I mean, the river, they're just going to try to maintain control of the river with that priority that they have on the side of TDE. And as you mentioned, Crims, he is looking again. It is, of course, in his interest to try to make proactive plays because in the scaling war, it's very hard to win a scaling war against a team when they have a Kayle. So even if you have a cast, so nevertheless, he is, he has to continue to try to make plays to get this ADC ahead because whilst mid lane, there is a little bit of a CS lead after that play we saw previously. We haven't seen Seaborg be in a position to carry yet in the league, whereas Yon definitely has had it, and that's exactly what TDE are going to try to shut down.
Nice hook and stun from Ultravox right there, but gonna take Oriri down. So is Yon going in favor of TDE.
And that is Ultravox now with 2 kills. He's now massively accelerated, and that, as I said, the win condition is Yon going to be on that Xayah, and now that has been put significantly behind by that play from TDE in the bot lane. Just continuing to play around this bot side, leave Zen up there on an island who does have a CS lead as well. And Medusa, they don't have to worry about them because they soaked so much pressure after that initial gank. Yes, they're down CS, but ultimately, the Kayle, she doesn't mind too much because she's going to build it back later.
Absolutely. Ultravox getting a huge lead down in the bot lane. Now, we've been commenting on Ultravox. Ultravox being such a good AD carry always feels like he's getting outshined by Mezusa, as I believe Jeff God stated in the FFC. Meanwhile, a fight is happening between Mezusa and Seaborg, but 2 other members of Art of War are here. Mezusa uses the Kayle ulti to live a little bit longer, but it's not going to matter. Slowbro here, too. They do have a Rift Herald. This could be a lot of tower plates in favor of Art of War.
That's going to be Zen's TP. Can he hold this?
I don't know. They might try to dive him, but he's a little too tanky. Nice arrow onto Oriri, gets him dead. Oh, this is disastrous for Art of War. Leaves is now here. Flash forward from Crims. Nothing else taken by the side of TDE, but nice response from Trickle Down.
Yeah, very decisive TP there from Zen. Mezusa did burn their flash previously when just as a bit of a Hail Mary, so that is going to leave them more susceptible. But ultimately, yes, a nice punish from the side of TDE. That's going to mean a kill there for Zen, who did manage to hold with that ultimate. The Mundo is very, very difficult to kill. And now, yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of a gold lead, but it is actually going to start snowballing, particularly when Leaves now, he does win the 1v1. He's significantly ahead with those 2 kills, and so now he can start invading, as we saw Crim's jungle. They can continue with this priority that we see in the bot side to set up more plays on Drake, which will be spawning soon enough. So TDE, they built themselves a commanding lead, and it's going to be down to Art of War now to make a big response on the map.
Leaves having an outstanding performance so far. I feel like he's been, I don't want to say underrated, but not talked about as much as Oriri gets a nice hook onto Ultravox. No stun from Yon. Means no real fight breaks out. But we've been talking about players like Utility Monster and Dax on this cast like a lot. You know, they're obviously one of the more like famous players here since they've been here for so long. But I feel like Leaves now in that conversation.
Yeah, I think some people have said that, again, featuring the Connect, as you mentioned, Chris, it has been the kind of the talk between Dax and Utility Monster, who, in fact, are going to be up against each other next, so stay tuned for that match of the week. But it's always been said that maybe Dax has had the advantage in mechanics. I'll hold the thought.
Yeah, nice dodge from Yon to get rid of that Ashe ulti, but Ultravox still gets the kill just because he has more damage, more items. Crims goes for the ulti to take him down, but Bob Joseph gets a kill into Crims. This is supportal combat now. Oriri trying to run away, but Bob Joseph has range, doesn't quite land the stun. Gets the speed up from the shield, but Oriri can hook himself away. Oh, flash forward from Bob Joseph. He wants it! Okay, Bob Joseph. Okay!
He's so cracked!
Okay!
He's so cracked, dude.
Brian who? Brian who?
Yep, there ain't no Brian in this league anymore. This is the man to watch out for. Yeah. You said that it did used to be about Brian Sang in this league, but yes, of course, Leaves has invaded the jungle conversation. Look who's invaded the support conversation. It's that man right there.
Yeah. This is an anime with 5 main characters, and we don't know who to root for anymore. They're all so good.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is a very, very fed Karma now, who the damage can continue to amp up. The bot lane, hang on. Leaves is continuing to fight.
Over the wall, Oriri hex splashing over, but nice ulti from Leaves to dodge it. It's going to be a nice ulti from Cassiopeia as well. Oriri going down in favor of TDE. Scores 3-10. I know.
Yeah, and the gold lead is starting to balloon a little bit.
Oh, and an Ashe arrow from Ultravox. Snipes Yon, but blast cones were a great invention. Leaves can walk through walls, though. Yon, what are you going to do? He's trying to kite. Not going to make it, though.
And great presence of mind there from Ultravox, knowing that, of course, the ult was burned in that previous exchange in the bot lane. So no ult there for Yon. He did have to cleanse as well, but even so, Leaves can just follow him over the wall. That's another kill picked up. That's going to be another Drake secured in just a moment, I think, and that is going to be everything going the way of TDE. And up there, we do keep going up this top lane, but at the moment, it's an island. Zen did manage to get a kill in the mid lane earlier on.
Bob Joseph, getting that auto onto Seaborg. They did get the trade kill onto Mezuzah. Had no Kale ulti yet, so decent.
So my question to you, Mr. Sungo, is does Bobby Joseph start building AP?
Yeah, absolutely. You might as well. Yeah, and Bob Joseph catching out Oriri does make it out. Leaves, and Bob Joseph might be on fight. Maybe a little greedy now. Slowbro has joined the fight. Yon gets a kill, and that's going to be 2 kills, 2 shutdowns over to Art of War.
It is. One of them is going to be picked up by Crims. I think the other one was picked up by Seaborg. That is by Yon. That is going to be just a lot of gold, but very necessary gold back in the pockets of Art of War. They are significantly behind in items at the moment. They can't get much more. The Drake was already secured by TDE. So what more can they get from this? There is still a Herald available, but for the time being, or it will be available very soon, but not much more they can get from that apart from just some necessary gold that they really need back in their carries pockets.
Yeah, Art of War absolutely needing those shutdowns right now. If there was any chance in the game, I guess they took it. So we could see a swing. We could see it happen. Slowbro, fantastic movement in that fight, by the way. I feel like we talked about him a little bit, him and Zen. Him being a champion, of course, both top laners being former champions. But the big thing about Slowbro between now and then was back then, Slowbro was definitely the utility top laner, right? He picked Shen, I think, in like 10 out of 15 games. And now it's not so much that he's playing for carries like Street Smurf or like Bobrovsky or like Found. Now he's playing with little people a little bit lower, but it's starting. That means it's starting to become a different style. So we're starting to see Slowbro shine.
Well, see, this is the thing, is that I think the biggest criticism that people have had of Slowbro, even though, you know, there's a lot of praise has been said about him, is that he's not as good at grouping up and setting up team fights with his team this time around. Which means that, yes, he's able to build individual leads sometime. Of course, that kill for Zenzen has netted him quite a significant CS deficit, but nevertheless, he's really going to have his work cut out for him. Gragas is great in team fights with a good explosive cast. So if we haven't really seen a full-on team fight just yet, just a lot of skirmishing, and when these guys group, and they probably will group soon enough. Hang on.
Getting
my goodness.
Getting a nice stun, forcing the Kale ult immediately. Yon has to ulti, but a nice Gale Force from Ultravox gets the kill. Ultravox on the back pedal. Crims is also going to go down. Oriri goes down. Now 2 members left on the side of Art of War. Seaborg running away. The slows will stop him, and that's 4 kills over to the side of TDE.
Just a little shutdown there at the end, I think, from, or just a kill that's got back, which they desperately need, because that's the problem. It looked like a good pick. It's going to keep on going here. Can Slowbro, he's going to get jumped on.
Yeah, he's getting chipped down really slowly. Mazuza immediately taking up that kill. Might have been a bit of an overstep there. Got a little confident, thinking that he could defend that, but TDE knowing exactly what to do.
The Kale ultimate is so strong, isn't it? Because that looked like a good pick. It was a max range hook there from Riri. It looked like they might be able to just burst Mazusa down, but just the damage isn't quite there yet on their carries. But a very clutch ultimate comes in from Mazusa, gets him out of the fight. He survives, and immediately they get collapsed on. And Slowbro, unfortunately, did not rotate in time, and then gets collapsed on straight afterwards, so ultimately he dies in the process anyway. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Art of War just not quite on the same page in the way they want to make these plays, and that's what they really need in order to try to get themselves back in this game. And of course, no hesitation whatsoever from TDE. When they see the opening, they immediately collapse, and that's what's making the difference in this game.
Give them credit where credit was due. If that early play onto Mazusa didn't fail, there's a chance we could be seeing a flip scoreboard right now. Like, they had the presence of mind to at least go for that play, and you can tell it was done in practice. Crims going for a knock-up onto Bob Joseph, while Bob Joseph tried to go for a tether. Trying to take down members of TDE. Bob Joseph goes down. Crims getting really low, but doesn't die just yet. Mazusa, it's caught. No ulti. Ultravox on the back pedal now. Leaves pushing forward. Yon is kiting and kiting and kiting. Crims on the back line trying to take down Ultravox, but Ultravox takes him down. Leaves 1v2 right now, taking down 2 members of Art of War. Slowbro now has to run away while Dragon is spawning. Leaves trying to get the knockup, but Slowbro gonna be able to dash away. TDE walk away with 4 kills again.
And I think
maybe a 5th.
Yeah, it could be. Hold on.
Yeah, I guess they really want this tower dive. Leaves trying to go for it. He believes in himself. I believe in him as well. Wait, Slowbro? Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's got a red buff. He's chilling. And Leaves there. It's been said that Leaves has taken over as the best mechanical jungler in the league. It used to be Dax, but now it is Leaves, and this is exactly what we're seeing from him. He's demonstrating his prowess on his signature pick. Beautiful stuff there, holding up 3 members in that choke point, and he's just netted them a Baron. He is unleashed on the map, and TDE, they've got all of the win conditions they need to take this game and put themselves in the running for first.
Or is around. They could attempt it if they wanted to, but I think they are just fully understanding that it's not something worth fighting for, and they should just cut their losses.
That's going to be, it's a completely uncontested Baron. 5 members have the Baron right now. Anyone can split push if they want. Of course, Zen's unmatchable at the moment because he's a big, chunky Mundo with 2 items. And I don't think, I mean, Seaborg can maybe burst him, can maybe eventually whittle him down, but it's going to take too long. He can chill in the side lane. Mazusa can chill in the side lane now, though they're a little bit behind in terms of CS and still haven't got that Riftmaker quite online. They'll be online fairly shortly, and then they can sit in the side lane, continue to chill until they're level 16 and the game's over. All of DDE's win conditions are unlocked, and Art of War, they now are in the position where they have to potentially fight an Infernal Soul, and they're going to have their work cut out for them, really, just stopping this push.
Yeah, Art of War looking to try to get some vision of their quadrants, but TDE knows exactly what they need to do. Textbook ending, textbook split pushing happening right now. Forcing down this mid tower while Kale splits that top side. Well done by TDE. Art of War. We commented saying they're not pushing the go button, but we saw it. They are pushing the go button, but TDE just knows how to push back.
Yeah, and they're just too far behind at this point as well. I mean, there isn't enough damage. There's so much sustain on the side of TDE. From this Kane, this Mundo, this Kale as well. And yeah, the clears, they have a decent amount of clear with the Xayah and the Cassiopeia, but it's Baron minions on two fronts. And they are going to hold for a little while, but it's a matter of time.
Yeah. Art of War, just looking for something. If TDE makes some kind of positional mistake, maybe they can find a pick. But as of this moment, TDE just needs to do the normal mid to top dance and just slowly get in hits. A pick from Oriri starts to go down. Yon gets arrowed, but cleanses it immediately. Ultravox pushing forward. This could be the fight to end it all. Oh, but that was a nice knockback to take down Ultravox. It's now 4v4. It's going to be TDE pushing down that mid inhib. Art of War, they were able to take one pick. Gonna have to go back into the fountain to heal. Top inhib taken down by TDE. What's gonna happen next? 4v4. Someone has to press the button.
Slowbro, where's that car spin all game, man?
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Crims decides to go forward first. Bob Joseph shielding himself really low, but not dead yet. Yon goes down. Slowbro gonna go down next. Seaboard pushed back into fountain. Oriri is here, but there's not much that he can do. Trickle down economics, taking down Art of War Esports 27-10, trying to keep their top 2 seed potential on the line. Congratulations, Trickle down economics. Well done.
Oh, and Chris, I've got some bad news for you. The dankest timeline
doesn't work.
No, it's not going quite how you said. It's
not happening. No dank timeline, no 4-way tie for first or fourth. But trickle-down economics have to feel happy about that one. They are looking to try to take that second seed, maybe even first seed if things go well. But getting a win here, nice step forward.
Yeah, really just textbook gameplay from them. They got all of their lanes ahead. Leaves absolutely monster performance from him. But honestly, it was just great stuff across the board from them. Art of War, we saw flashes where they were trying to make those kind of plays that we want to see from them, but it just needs a little bit more ironing out. The cohesion's not quite there yet, but still promising stuff from them. Hopefully they'll continue to bounce back tomorrow. But as you mentioned, that does put TDE in the running for a potential upset towards the top 3, and we'll have to see where that stands in the next game.
Absolutely, and the next game will be our match of the week. It will be Universal Basic Income versus Team Beep Boop. Make sure you guys watch that. In the meantime, we're going to be going to a quick intermission, and also we'll be doing a quick interview. If you want something to read while you're waiting, go ahead and check out ffesports.com/press, where you can check out the Friend or Foe Connect, or you can buy a t-shirt, buy a hoodie, buy more. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.
Hello everyone, Chris Edgeworth here with tonight's first interview, joined by Zen of the victorious Trickle Down Economics. How you feeling after the win?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's nice to bring that average game time stat lower and lower, because we kind of goofed on a couple of our matches, but we're trying to get the lowest score in the league, so that was nice.
Different kind of stat padding. We
Yeah.
like that. Let's talk about this game. The draft for you folks was very interesting. I'm liking what we're going to be able to see here with some of the meta shakeups with 12-6 coming in. We did see the bot lane is getting shaken up, although if I remember correctly, you folks had Jinx and Zeri banned. I don't remember.
Jinx, we banned away the Jinx because we thought that it was AWE's best pick,
Yeah.
and we were worried about it, and then we saw them pick up the Xayah as a response to our Ashe, which was pretty smart. It was pretty good.
Yeah, what were your thoughts overall on this draft? The interesting thing for your folks, and you ended up on the Mundo, which I want to ask you about in a moment. But also the mid Kayle came through. I think this is a known top pick for Mezuzah, and it seems that they were comfortable letting it through, and he played it pretty well in this matchup. Talk to me a little bit about your folks' strategy coming into this game and the draft that you ended up against.
Absolutely. So going into this game, we were concerned a little bit about like assassin-y divey characters that AWE has a number of like strong players on. So we wanted to target their jungler as well as their mid laner with bans around Kiana and Diana. And then we were just looking to like kind of play our own game. We went in sort of expecting to get Ashe because we know Art of War doesn't play it that often, and that ended up working out. But the main thing that I want to give credit to actually is AWE's draft, because they threw us for quite a loop. Traditionally, most teams that look at trickle-down economics, they try to ban out our mid laner, Mezuzah, and he's a very proficient mid laner, so credit to them. But AWE went with something different. They targeted my champion pool, banning away the Kled and the Scion, and first picking Gragas as a flex. And this was something that we hadn't seen before, so we sort of had to adapt on the fly. We threw Mezuzah on Kayle once we knew that was available, and then it was all about sort of building a composition that could support it and make sure that it was going to be fine. And again, credit where credit is due. AWE had a fantastic attempt at shutting down the Kayle. I think that they really threw every single resource that they absolutely could into trying to gank the Kayle and stuff it down. And by the end of laning phase, they were successful. Prashanth was down down 30 CS and like maybe 1 or 2 deaths from what I recall. But we were still able to bring it back.
Yeah, well, for your own part in this, as you say, you were targeted in this draft. You make the pivot into the Mundo, which with the rework plays very interesting. I mean, not that it was a major rework, but I do like the addition of the single-use Banshees that he's got with a little health potion that drops out of him. And so you were up against the Gragas that was taken from your champion pool. This is a champion that has a lot of the CC that Mundo is able to now deal better with, because he's going to have this recharging Banshees. What were your thoughts overall on this matchup in the top lane that you ended up into with Slowbro picking one of your champions out of your pool, and then just overall how you were able to play out in your role in this game?
Yeah. So I felt pretty satisfied with how the game played out. Looking into this match, I'm picking Mundo into 2 AP characters in the Gragas and Cassiopeia. My role as in the team is to stand in front of Kayle and just make sure that people can't walk into him. And so going into this lane matchup, once I saw that AWE was trying to put a bunch of focus on the Kayle, even pulling Gragas out from the top lane to gank a couple times, I realized that all I really needed to do was just continue to shove and sort of force him under tower, burn his mana pool. Since I'm a manaless champion, once he runs out of mana, he starts to fall behind and sustain. And even though I was unable to get a kill because Slowbro is such a proficient top laner, I was able to push him further and further behind because he was just forcing one too many plays on the mid lane. So I felt pretty good about it. Mundo is a pick that I used to like before the rework, and now he's fine. But as you say, he's very different now, and I was happy to be able to bring it out today.
Well, Zen Zen, congratulations on this win. I thought it was overall pretty well played out from your side. There was a little bit of a well taken advantage of positioning, I believe, from AWE in the mid game. They were able to scrap together a couple of kills. I can't remember if it was in the top river or I think it was the bot river. But yeah, no, you folks I think did an excellent job in this game, and this does advance you folks closer and staying towards the top of these standings, breaking the tiebreaker dream, so to speak. We do have another featured matchup coming up next, though, that I was curious if you had any insights or thoughts on, which is our Universal Basic Income versus Team Beat Boop. UB versus Baby coming up next. Do you have any thoughts, Zenzen, on this matchup, and who do you think might win?
I am very excited to see this matchup. I think that between TDE, Baby, and UB, we sort of established ourselves as the top 3 teams in the league. TDE is looking to finish out the season strong and hopefully steal away the second place spot. And so for that reason alone, this match has a lot of importance to it. I think strategically, I absolutely love the members on UB. I think that their team fighting and like mid to late game macro plays are quite good. I just once I want to see a team that punishes their weaker early game and actually manages to follow through with it, because we've seen UB have like a number of quite bad games for the first 15 minutes, and somehow they always pull it through. And so I'm hoping that Baby will be able to break the streak and get a solid early game and then actually follow through with that to close out the game. But really, it's anyone's match. I'm excited to watch.
Hell yeah. All right, well, thank you, Zen Zen, for joining us for this interview. Congratulations to Trickle Down Economics for that big win. We're going to take a short break, but folks, we'll be back very soon with our second game of the night, so do not go too far. And if you have some time while you're waiting, I would encourage you to check us out, the Friend or Fro, connect at ffofesports.com/press. I believe I'm getting that right, but you'll see it on the website. Check it out, folks. We're going to take a short break. Be right back.
Don't go anywhere.